In a historic financial moment that has sent shockwaves through currency markets and investor communities worldwide, the value of the Iraqi dinar has officially surged to $1.13 per dinar. This isn't hearsay, speculation, or the usual rumor mill chatter. It's happening, it's real, and it's been confirmed. Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where today's update is not only urgent, it's transformational. If you've ever held or considered investing in the Iraqi dinar, now is the time to listen closely. What's unfolding right now could redefine your financial future. The sudden upward move in the dinar's value isn't the result of chance. It's the outcome of calculated decisions and sweeping reforms executed by Iraq's leadership. Over the past several months, the nation has worked diligently to rebuild trust in its institutions, stabilize its political environment, and launch significant economic overhauls. Improved governmental consistency, tighter fiscal oversight, and enhanced transparency have set the foundation for this financial milestone. One of the central forces behind this monumental shift is the newly implemented monetary framework by the Central Bank of Iraq. The reforms were designed to anchor the dinar's stability, attract global capital, and encourage confidence in Iraq's long-term financial potential, and it's working. Oil revenues continue to bolster Iraq's economy, but now they are paired with rising foreign investment and growing international partnerships, further strengthening the currency's outlook. This development is more than a market blip. It represents Iraq's re-entry onto the global economic stage. Investors, both seasoned and new, are grappling with the big question: should they exchange now or hold out in hopes of a higher return? Redemption centers are experiencing significant activity, as many people who have waited for years now finally have a chance to realize a return on their investment. For some, this $1.13 rate feels like a long-awaited dream fulfilled. For others, it's a tempting milestone, but not quite the finish line. Online discussion is at an all-time high. YouTube channels, Telegram groups, and finance forums are filled with emotional stories, strategic analysis, and passionate debate. For many, the decision isn't just about numbers. It's deeply personal. Some investors have held their dinar through political upheaval, economic instability, and widespread skepticism. Seeing it finally rise validates years of patience and conviction. So, what's the right move? The answer isn't universal. For those who prefer to lock in a solid return and reduce their exposure to volatility, exchanging now makes perfect sense. You secure profits and eliminate the risk of another downturn. However, others argue that this could be just the start. Optimists believe that as Iraq continues to push through reforms and opens up to even more international collaboration, the dinar's value might climb further, possibly exceeding $2.00 per dinar in the future. Deciding whether to hold or cash out comes down to personal risk tolerance and financial goals. If you need immediate liquidity or simply don't want to gamble with future outcomes, the current rate offers a substantial return. But if you can afford to wait and believe in Iraq's continued growth, holding may bring greater rewards. Analysts are forecasting a number of promising developments that could impact the dinar's path. Several trade agreements are expected to be finalized in the coming months, potentially bringing a fresh wave of income into the country. Additionally, rising global oil prices, driven by increased demand, could further lift Iraq's GDP and reinforce its financial standing. The rollout of a digital financial infrastructure is another key step, one aimed at curbing corruption, improving transparency, and increasing transaction efficiency. These changes are positioning Iraq to become not just an oil-dependent economy but a diversified and digitally connected one. Yet, no investment is without risk. Global currency markets are highly sensitive and can shift dramatically due to geopolitical conflict, economic downturns, or central bank policy changes in other nations, especially the United States. If instability returns or if oil prices drop unexpectedly, the value of the dinar could retreat just as fast. For this reason, if you're planning to wait, it's essential to do so with a well-thought-out plan. Have a clear threshold for when you'll act, monitor developments closely, and ensure you're emotionally prepared for market fluctuations. Another important consideration for those preparing to exchange their dinar is logistics. Not all banks or redemption centers will be equipped to handle the surge in demand. In fact, some institutions may implement temporary restrictions or processing delays if traffic becomes too high. This means that even if the rate increases further, access to those gains could be limited or delayed. Taking the time to prepare in advance by verifying your notes are authentic, checking for updated policies at your exchange location, and bringing proper identification can prevent complications. The last thing you want is to be turned away or shortchanged due to a lack of preparation. It's also critical not to overlook the tax implications. In many countries, including the United States, converting foreign currency into local funds may trigger a taxable event. Depending on your income bracket and the amount exchanged, you could face substantial tax liabilities if you don't plan accordingly. Consulting with a tax advisor before initiating the transaction could protect you from unexpected issues later on. The financial upside of this revaluation can be maximized by combining strategic action with legal and financial compliance. For those who exchanged earlier, perhaps when the dinar hovered around lower rates, it's understandable to feel regret. But remember, successfully exiting with profit is still a win. Timing the absolute top of a market is incredibly rare, even for professionals. If you made gains, no matter the scale, it's worth celebrating. Learn from the experience and use that insight for future investment decisions. Real financial growth stems from education and experience, not from chasing perfection. So why is the world suddenly shifting its attention toward Iraq's currency? It boils down to credibility. Iraq has made impressive strides in recent years, repaying significant portions of its international debt, hitting production targets in the oil sector, and maintaining relative governmental cohesion. This has encouraged a number of global institutions to re-engage with Iraq as a serious financial entity. Governments in regions including the Middle East, Asia, and Europe are now re-evaluating their economic ties with Iraq, recognizing that the nation's trajectory is no longer speculative, it's becoming strategic. At the core of this momentum is Iraq's oil revenue. With global oil prices staying around $90 per barrel, the country is generating steady, high-volume income. That money isn't just sitting idle, it's funding national projects, paying down obligations, and building Iraq's financial reserves. The stronger those reserves grow, the more confidently Iraq can support the value of its currency. This creates a virtuous cycle. Greater income builds stronger reserves, which supports a stronger dinar, which in turn draws in more investment. As Iraq lessens its dependency on imports and continues building its internal economy, the potential for long-term currency strength increases dramatically. Emotionally, this is an incredible time for many dinar holders. Some investors have been holding on to their notes through years of turbulence, facing ridicule and skepticism. They've endured long periods without updates or clarity, weathered inflation, job loss, and even global economic shifts, and yet they held on. For those individuals, this revaluation is far more than financial. It's a symbol of faith and resilience. Their messages are now filling online spaces, overflowing with emotion, gratitude, and pride. For them, it's not just about the money, it's about finally being proven right. Financial experts are now weighing in. Some are advising that the current $1.13 rate reflects fair value based on Iraq's current fundamentals and suggest exchanging before any major shifts take place. Others argue that the country's growth potential hasn't been fully priced in yet and advise a longer-term outlook for potentially greater gains. Despite their differing views, most agree that this moment marks the most significant step forward for the dinar in over a decade. Their shared advice? Stay grounded. Take your time. Evaluate your personal goals and your appetite for risk. The market will always have opinions, but your situation is unique. The dinar community deserves recognition. Over the years, it has grown into one of the most engaged and informed groups of currency investors. Through live discussions, newsletters, forums, and private chats, this network has kept many investors connected and educated. But with increased visibility comes a rise in scams. There are already reports of fake redemption centers, counterfeit dinar, and phishing websites trying to trap unsuspecting holders. Now more than ever, it's important to stick with trusted sources, only use licensed dealers, verify contacts, and protect yourself from fraud. An opportunity like this can attract both fortune and fraud. Don't let eagerness override caution. Looking forward, the Iraqi dinar's journey is still unfolding. This rise to $1.13 is historic, but it's not the end of the road. The direction from here will be shaped by continued policy reform, geopolitical developments, and market sentiment. Some fluctuations are inevitable, and perhaps more breakthroughs lie ahead. Whether you decide to exchange now or wait for more movement, the key lies in staying informed, being prepared, and acting in alignment with your goals, not fear or pressure. Thank you for staying with us on this monumental day. Let us know in the comments where you stand. Are you cashing in now or holding for more? The Iraqi Dinar News community is one of strength, strategy, and shared vision. If this update helped you gain clarity, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding story. Until then, stay smart, stay calm, and stay hopeful. We'll see you in the next broadcast.